Hey, it's good to see you. Hello, and welcome to this little video. Tonight, I wanted to show you my tarot deck collection. So, this is part 2 of 2. This is the second half of my tarot deck collection. Link down below, you can find the first half of this collection series, the first half of my tarot deck collection, as well as a video with all of my oracle decks, if that's something that interests you. In the first video of my tarot deck collection, I showed you my classic decks, so like RWS clone decks. I showed you my working decks and my pip decks. So that was that video. Whereas this video, I'm going to show you what I consider my artsier decks and also my stranger decks. They're just a little odd, a little artsy. Almost all of them are indie. Hardly any are mass market. If that sounds interesting at all to you, I hope you'll stick around and I hope you enjoy this video. Without further ado, we will get started. The first deck I want to show you is this one. This is called the Omni Tarot. The backs look like this. And it has some blue foil edging, really beautiful. These cards are a little slick, a little shiny, which is not my favorite aspect of the deck, but I love the artwork. The artwork is super fun, super feminine, as I think you can see. I love these figures because they're at once very feminine, but also almost otherworldly looking or kind of alien-like. They seem not quite of this world. The colors are absolutely gorgeous. I love the colors. I love the way they're combined. It feels soft, it feels powerful, it feels fun and hip, dare I say. Something about it reminds me of like magazine illustrations from when I was younger and still getting magazine subscriptions to my home. It very much has that vibe to me. I love the way she composed each card. They're bright, but there's also a darkness to them, and there's a lot of spaciousness in each card too. So I enjoy doing readings with this deck and kind of looking at how the different cards play on each other, especially as it pertains to color and color placement. Yeah, just a really solid deck that I personally find to be gorgeous. So that's the Omni Tarot. Next is this tarot deck called the Many Queens Tarot. This is the indie version, but it has since gone mass market, so it's really readily available if you're interested. I love this deck so much. It has a certain weight to it and feels kind of marshmallowy when you shuffle it. This is a black and white deck. You may have seen it on my channel before. I got this a year or two ago when I really sat down to start deepening my tarot study. I was already a proficient reader, but I really did a deep dive, and this deck accompanied me through that. I love this Two of Pentacles, the way it shows the more burdensome aspect of the card. These drawings are so real to me. They feel so real. They feel contemporary. They feel like people I really know, but abstracted just enough so that I can, put different situations or understandings of the card onto it. Like mapping different meanings onto it. But they feel like real people. It's a very queer deck. There's lots of different representations of femininity in here, different bodies, different presentations of the self, and I like that it feels very contemporary without showing super modern aspects of modern life, like laptops and cell phones and jeans and cars even. I don't love cars in my deck. I don't love technology in my decks. So this feels so contemporary while still feeling really versatile, kind of allegorical, and it's fantastic. This deck smells like this special sleep spray that I have. I actually don't know what the scent is. It was like a secondhand gift, but I sprayed it on this deck, and so it smells so warm and cozy and calming, and I really love that aspect of it as well. Yeah, this is probably one of my top 3 decks. I love it. I love this 9 of Swords. I love that little creature. So that is the Many Queens Tarot. Next up is this. This is the Stunning Tarot by an artist named Jonasa Jaus. The backs look like this. Just this gorgeous, really rich, vibrant red. And I love this shape of card, this elongated style. I love it. It's pretty tall, so it's a little hard to overhand shuffle, but it's otherwise really easy to work with, and I feel like it looks really elegant and sophisticated in a reading, in a spread. Oh my god, I love this Four of Cups. Also, this kind of malaise aspect of the card. I really love her depiction of it. Okay, so this is another deck where I love the particular flavor of femininity it's giving off. This is like a very strong, dark feminine deck. I also, again, love the color choices in this deck. There's a lot of really vibrant reds, this nice purple color. There's other colors in here too, if we can get to them. Let's see. We have some of this kind of greenish yellow, some white, and I think there's like a more, I guess that's still greenish yellow. So a lot of, yellow, purple, red. Oh, and this pink. This pink is a big color in the overall palette. Great judgment card, by the way. So the Pentacle suit is based on ancient Egyptian culture and mythology. We have the suit of wands based on witches, and swords is set in the world of mermaids. And what am I missing? Wands is witches, swords is mermaids, cups is, I don't know where it's set actually now that I'm thinking of it. But anyway, the suits are, a new concept. They've been mapped onto different worlds, and so it offers a kind of novel take on each of the suits. This deck does. Oh yeah, cups are based on Arabian Nights, like 1001 Nights. Right, so each suit borrows from a different mythology, and I find the compositions of each card interesting. It took me a little while to connect with some of these depictions, but overall it's a really strong deck. It's a very strong and harsh reader. It doesn't mince words. So if I'm looking for a kind of tell it how it is reading, or if a querent of mine is, this is the deck I usually reach for. I also wanted to point out this really beautiful Two of Cups. So that is the Stunning Tarot by Jonasa Jaus. Then we have another long deck by Jonasa Jaus. This one is just called Jonasa Jaus, so it's eponymous. And this is what the backs look like. Really beautiful, kind of daisy-like drawing or pattern done with pen and ink. So, again, this is from Jonasa Jaus. You can see here that she is from Galicia, so the titles of each card are in another language, which doesn't really trip me up, but I do feel like I should mention it in case you're interested in this deck and you don't pick up on that right away. This deck to me is a very, again, dark, feminine deck, similar to the Stunning Tarot, but it also has this kind of King Arthur thread to it. We have some knights here who are literal knights in shining armor, and there's a lot of flowers. The minor arcana are a little pippish, but I just don't consider this a pip deck. I'm not really sure why I think of it differently. The Empress. To my other pip decks. Oh, and I love the Six of Wands. But I do. So it is pippish. I don't consider it a pip deck. I think because the way the cards read to me, I'm not focused so much on the numerology. I read it a little more intuitively based on what's before me in this particular case. You can see all the different flowers and vases and glasses in the suit of cups and how beautiful that is. So it's a romantic deck to me, but nevertheless has its darkness as well. It's not totally a fairy tale, like happily ever after kind of thing. But yeah, it is very fairy tale-like to me. And reminds me again like of King Arthur. I will say one thing I don't love in any deck, but especially these decks, is when the world or the Empress is a literal pregnant woman. It's just not a very open interpretation, and that's just a pet peeve of mine. So that's one thing I wish was different, but that's really about it. Otherwise, I love the style of this artwork, and I love the moody kind of in-between fall and winter color palette. So that is the Jonasa Jaus Tarot. After that, we have La Flora Tarot. The backs look like this. This is an indie deck, and it's out of print. I think also, I just want to say, I think these are some of my favorite backs that I've ever seen on a tarot deck. I love the simplicity, and I love this clover design. So this deck is the entire tarot depicted through flowers and plants, but especially flowers. Sometimes a creature or two, like a bird or a snake, but mostly flowers and plants. The flowers and plants are shown in a kind of pointillism style, and I think it looks really elegant. It reminds me of old, like, reference book illustrations you might see in sort of like biological textbooks, biology textbooks, or I forget what they're called, but those books where, you know what I'm talking about, right? Those kind of curio cabinety books, but it's filled with specimens of, you know, different plants, different animals. It reminds me of that. This deck was made by I believe a professional graphic designer, and I think it shows. I think it's been so beautifully designed. Again, it feels very elegant to me, and I got this deck secondhand, so I was not able to purchase the physical copy of the guidebook. I got the PDF version instead, but even with the PDF version, I can tell it's so well laid out, so well designed. It's been copy edited. It's so professional and gorgeous, like a museum piece. So I just feel really lucky to have this deck. It is a deck that's harder to read with because of all the knowledge that has gone into it. There's so much research in the guidebook about all these plants and why they were chosen for each of these cards. So I have the best experience with this deck when I use it to draw, just, you know, to pull maybe 2 cards, read about the plants, and then really sit with the meanings, because it's so information dense, which is a really good thing. So that is La Flora Tarot. Okay, and then we have 2 collage decks. I just have 2 collage decks. I know some people are really into collage decks. I just have the 2. One of them is this deck. This is the Telezma Tarot, and the backs look like this. It has this really beautiful gold foiled edge, and the cards are quite big, so I do overhand shuffle it, but very slowly. And the cardstock is also quite big, so that's another reason I'm kind of slow and gentle with it. So this is a collage deck, as I've said. I tend to like collage decks that aren't too busy. This one is quite busy, but it doesn't feel like a big assemblage, like a big grouping of all these different items of a similar sort. I feel like a lot of times collage decks kind of fall into that territory. These ones, these cards, they're a bit more composed. They sometimes have backgrounds, foregrounds, figures in the center, people interacting with one another, so I find them easier to read. It's a really beautiful deck. I find myself wishing sometimes it was easier to shuffle and to work with. This is a great tower card. But overall, I have no complaints. The bigger size of the cards and the sturdiness of the cardstock makes it really great for, pulling a single card, putting it on your bookshelf or somewhere like a desk to think about it over time. I also love this art card. So yeah, it's both like a plus and a minus, but I love the energy of this deck. And I heard someone else say that it reminded them of becoming a teenager and kind of pushing boundaries and deciding what kind of adult you want it to be, really. And that really resonates with me. So I'm really glad to have it. I like to work with it. It works well for me in just about every season. And it's a real work of art. That is the Telezma Tarot. Then we have the Ritual Tarot. So the packs look like this. This is another collage deck. And as you'll see in a second, the collage compositions are unmarked, untitled, so you just kind of have to know what they are. This is the Queen of Pentacles. But something really clever she did with this edition is she hid the name of the card on the back in different places in this diagram. So this says Queen of Pentacles. This one says the King of Swords there. Here we have the Queen of Swords. And you get the idea. So I know this deck well enough now that I don't have to use those markings, but I just like that as a little trick. I thought that was a really clever solution. The creator made her first edition of this deck and it was totally unmarked. Some people struggled to use it for that reason. So then she made a marked edition. This deck is in my top 3. I love it so much. It has really big energy. There's a certain timelessness to it, or there's this big timeline energy to it. It extends out beyond this present moment, and it reaches really far back into history as well. So I just love it so much. I think the collage art is really beautiful and thoughtfully done. It uses a lot of nature photos and imagery, but also a lot of famous art from history, both sculpture and painting. There's some Klimt in here, you can see, for example. Cards are a little slippery, so that's one thing. And the cards chip really easily. But I almost think that adds to the deck. Like, it suits this style of collage for there to be chipping around the edges or along the edges. So I don't mind that too much, but I do try to keep that in mind when working with this deck so that I can, I don't quite baby it, but I am a little more careful with it when I shuffle and things like that. It just feels really one of a kind to me, and like it has really big cosmic universal energy. I love this Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is a card of joy, of bliss, and often you'll see a family standing under a rainbow. But what's so cool about this Ten of Cups is that it's two friends, like maybe drunk even, laughing, and to me that just opens up so many layers of meaning for the card. So yeah, just a fantastic deck. I love this Ace of Wands, even though it's really simple. And if you're on the fence about getting this one, I would just say go for it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I knew I wanted it. I was sure I wanted it. And even so, when I got it and finally had it in my hands and saw it in person, because I had never seen it in person before, I had like an instant connection with it, and it just felt so much richer in person than I even could have imagined. So it was just beyond my expectations. So that is the Ritual Tarot. Alright, and then the last deck in this category is the Leonora Carrington Tarot. It has these plain gray backs, really classy. This is my only majors only deck. So it's not a full tarot deck. It has only the major arcana. But I love it. I really don't buy major arcana decks or majors only decks. But I had to make an exception for this one, and I don't regret it. Leonora Carrington, if you don't know, was an occultist and a writer. I have read her short stories, and I already knew and loved her as a writer. I had no idea that she had also painted all of these paintings, which were then made into a tarot deck. This was made by Fuego Press, and it's really cool too because they made a signature scent to go along with the deck. So the deck has been lightly perfumed and just smells really beautiful and luxurious, honestly. So I don't do readings with this deck because it's majors only, although there are readings and spreads that you can do with majors only. Especially, I've been wanting to try the French cross, but what I do instead is pull one card at a time and just put it on my bookshelf to contemplate. I just want to point out how beautiful the colors are in this deck, all of which have spiritual meanings that are detailed in the guidebook, but beyond their meaning or their significance, they just are really gorgeous, really rich and vivid, and surprising too. I love this Emperor's face. I love this lion's eye so much. Here are some gorgeous blues, and maybe my favorite card in the whole deck is the Chariot card. This kind of burgundy purple, and then this kind of blue purple on top, and these two women on either side of this figure. just feel so symbolic to me and powerful and surprising. I just freaking adore it. So yeah, that is my majors only deck with art by Leonora Carrington. Okay, so now we are moving on to my strange decks, I would call them. The first of which is this mini guy. This is the Barbara Walker Tarot. The backs look like this. And yeah, I personally love this artwork. I don't think it's everyone's cup of tea. It's very dark. There's something about it that feels sort of storybook-like to me, but I find it really interesting. Like this Six of Swords card is phenomenal in my opinion. The court cards have specific figures or names set to them, like the Prince of Pentacles is Merlin. And yeah, it's feminist, it's very strange, kooky, and not pulling any punches. It's a really beautiful Two of Cups. So there is a little bit of sweetness in it here and there. There's also a lot of severity, a lot of like discomfort or distress. Not necessarily this one, but I love how she's pulling on the thread. It's just really, really strange, and I personally adore it. I don't really use this to read for other people. I more so just read for myself with it. Love this yellow color, by the way. But I have done a reading or two with this for my partner. He got this card actually in his reading in part. I think it takes a special reader, a special querent to pull out everyday application from pull out everyday applications of the card's meanings. Personally, that's just how I feel. But it's well worth it. It has a lot of wisdom. I love this King of Cups. My partner also got this card in a reading recently. But yeah, not something I jump to use for other people really, just because it's so strange and it is a pretty harsh reader. So yeah, I don't know what else to say except that I'm glad this exists, and I love the ways in which it feels a little dated. I think it was made in the 80s, I want to say, but I'm not sure. So that is the Barbara Walker Tarot. Next we have the Tarot del Fuego. The backs look like this. It's slightly smaller than a usual or typical deck, but it's not a mini. And yeah, it's very fun, even though it also has a lot of intensity. It's very fun, yeah, very intense. The artwork looks as though it was done just with markers almost, I would guess. The artist has said he's very inspired by comic books, and I think you can tell that's definitely what comes across. There is no specific guidebook for this deck, so you really do need to spend time with it to try to get some of its messages. And I have my own way of relating to this deck, a kind of visual language that I feel it uses. At least for me, the visual language it uses with me to communicate what it's trying to communicate. You'll notice a lot of tattoos on the figures, a lot of fire, lightning bolts, and some of these things are about, you know, the backstory of the card or the figure, about where to put your attention as the reader, about what is urgent, what requires focus, what or who is wise, what or who is innocent. Yeah, and for example, the amount of eyes a figure has relates to its amount of wisdom or how fully it has been realized or self-actualized. And I love this Queen of Pentacles, not for how it looks so much as how it makes me feel and how it makes me think about the card. And I also really love the kings in this deck. I think I've gone through a lot of them, but they highlight the shadow side of each king card in a way that I haven't really seen done in other decks. So I really appreciate that too about this deck. Let's see if I can find someone wise in here. So like the World card, he's got 4 eyes there. King of Wands has 4 eyes. But the High Priestess, wherever she is, I believe has many more eyes. Queen of Cups has 3 eyes to one side of her face. So, yeah, it's a total delight and a total, it feels like a bomb went off, or like a bomb goes off every time you do a reading with this deck. And for that reason, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to beginning readers, because it may feel a little confusing or like you don't have the resources you want to kind of learn some of these meanings right away. But it's a really, really great deck, really well-made deck, and I feel like it has such a unique point of view and was really made from the heart. And then this is what I wanted to show you. The Priestess has 6 eyes total. So that is the Tarot del Fuego. Moving on, we have the Holly Simple Tarot. The backs look like this. This is just like a standard card size. I want to say they might be a little taller, but it just comes in a tuck box that looks like any other tuck box you get for a deck of cards. This deck I got back in 2016, I think. Again, like some of the earlier decks in this video, this has just like a superb color story. I love the colors in this deck, and I also love the art. The art is a little spooky, a little creepy, but it's also, to me, really fun. It's maybe not for everyone, but I really like it. I like the simplicity of this deck. The minor arcana are a little pippy, but the way they're laid out does offer some views into the card's meaning. Like here we have the 7 of Wands. We have a little bit of the higher ground aspect there. So I don't consider this a pip deck exactly. Here we have the 8 of Wands. To me, they're all like pointing towards a focal point, which kind of captures the movement or the intense focus of the Eight of Wands. So I love these strange creatures. Like the Oracle deck I also have from Holly Simple, this deck was stored in a box with incense, so it smells really, really strongly of sandalwood. And yeah, sandalwood just always makes me think of these two decks. Now, I've never found a deck quite like this one. I don't think she makes it anymore, but I'm not sure. Yeah, again, it's really simple. The only thing I don't like is this creature woman who is pregnant for the Empress. Like I said before, not really a fan of that interpretation, but otherwise, yeah, I don't use this deck super often, but it's really, really dear to me, and you know, it comes out like late fall, right before October, and I have a lot of nostalgia for working with this deck, so it means a lot to me. And this is the Holly Simple Tarot. Then we have the Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea. That deck name is a mouthful and I always get it wrong, so I had to think. This is what the backs look like. This deck was made in the 90s, and I got this copy of it secondhand. So, where to begin with this deck? This deck is so freaking strange. All of the cards are strange. I really love the Major Arcana in particular because they have more detail than the Minor Arcana, but they're all great. And yeah, I got this secondhand. It wasn't expensive at all. It was very, very cheap. And I bought it kind of on a whim, which I don't usually do with tarot decks. But I had heard someone talking about the keywords at the top of these cards, at the tops of these cards, and I was really intrigued and wanted to work with those keywords. So I, on a whim, searched for this deck, saw a secondhand copy of For Sale that was a really good price, and it was unopened, even though I believe this deck is now out of print. It was mass market, so there are a lot of copies of it, but yeah, I don't believe it's being produced anymore. Anyway, so I made a bid, my bid was accepted, and it was being shipped to me, and I started second guessing what I had done because I was just like, look at these crazy dolphins. I was like, oh, I bought that on a whim. I'm not really sure that I will like it, actually. Maybe it is too strange for me. But then it got here, and I was honestly like kind of blown away by it. It's terribly strange. I can read it as it is, but I love to use the guidebook with this one because it adds so many other layers of meaning that are particular to this deck. Here we have some little monkeys on the chair. I also wanted to show you this Seven of Swords card. This is one of my favorite Seven of Swords cards, which the keyword here is ambivalence, but this card often speaks to deception or rebellion, and I just love that depiction. Anyway, the guidebook is really wacky too. For example, with this card, Seven of Wands, the guidebook talks about, trying to hold your ground and all of that while overcoming the discomfort brought to you by these little crabs, clawing at your feet, kind of a thing. And it's just really specific to this illustration, but adds to the card's overall meaning. You can see he's fighting this wave of water, which is kind of coming no matter what, with a kind of fire wand. His feet are tangled in some kind of ribbon. It's likely he'll fall, that he'll trip, and he has these little nuisance crabs, just making things even more difficult. So it's just a really, really wacky deck. And I like it more than I thought I would. So I'm glad I have it. Again, love the colors in this. They're just unlike colors I see being used for things these days. Like this Empress card. It's just gorgeous. What strange details, right? And like, what is this? Why? I just really enjoy this deck. I feel like it has a sense of humor and is slightly sci-fi, and it delights me. So that's the Navigators Tarot of the Mystic Sea deck. Alright, last but not least, we have the Pasta Tarot. The backs look like this. This was an indie deck, but went mass market, and this is the mass market version, which is on a linen cardstock. Doesn't always make the best sounds for ASMR, but it is nice to work with, although it has bowed a little bit for no reason. I don't know if you can see that, but I like this deck, so we have no problems here. Where to begin? Okay, so this is in the Strange Tarot deck category. It's not terribly strange, but it's a tarot deck with pasta. The whole theme is pasta, and because it's a themed deck, it would seem that it was really gimmicky kind of thing. It's not usually something I would go for, but I know someone who adores this deck, who's a tarot reader, and she totally sold me on it. It's a little campy, it's very queer. It was made by 2 Italian Americans, and I just think it's really clever. Not in a gimmicky way, just in a clever, full stop, clever way. And I really like to use it. It speaks really beautifully to community, to sharing, to family, to friends, family, chosen family. And it feels, of all my decks, this is the most like everyday real life deck, but it still doesn't feel too strongly tied to this period of time. There's a relative timelessness to it, and the cards have just been really well chosen, really well illustrated. Here we have the 9 of Lunga, which is the 9 of Swords. This card absolutely, to me, looks like anxiety in the RWS. That's, someone sitting up in bed, holding their hands in their head, holding their head in their hands. And we have Spaghetti Nero here. So it's just really clever. Alfabeto. So this is the 6 of Minuta, 6 of coins, 6 of pentacles. And here we have this kind of grandma figure doling out the soup. On each card it says what the type of pasta is, which I also really appreciate. And it's kind of incorporated into the card one way or another. Like here it's a tattoo, for example, or a flower. So it's just lovely. It feels very, very cozy to me. Very comforting and very community minded. And I never thought I would get a themed deck, but I got this one and I don't regret it. It's really well made. So that's the pasta. Oh, that sounds good. That's the pasta tarot. Thus concludes part two of my tarot deck collection. I really enjoyed sharing all these decks with you. I hope it was interesting for you or relaxing. Maybe you found a deck or two that spoke to you or interested you. Above all, I hope you are doing super, super, super well. And if you're not, that is okay too. I will talk to you very soon. And until then, good night, good night,